West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Haven't even bothered to advertise that I've gone live today. Haven't posted it anywhere. Didn't put it on Twitter or X. Didn't put it on Facebook. Didn't put it on Insta. Didn't put it on Patreon. Haven't told anyone that there's a live show right now. Because, fam, I was just doing some work. I just finished a presentation. In fact, have I even saved it? I just finished a presentation on how to, how to deal with emotionally dysregulated children. I am clever out here, you know. So I've got a big presentation to do tomorrow on teaching people about the best ways to manage and approach and handle children, although this could apply to adults as well, who are emotionally dysregulated. Fam, I be working all hours of the day. What, you think I just do this podcast thing? You best believe I've got a job that I got to do work for as well. So I just finished up that presentation. It's good to go for tomorrow. So we'll do that tomorrow. But it meant that I set up the live, but then didn't have time to advertise. That's why I'm late. Didn't have time to advertise the live anywhere. So I just went live, no warning. So people need to share this for me. Put in your TikToks, put in your Snapchats, put in your Discords, put in your Facebooks, put in your Twitters, put in your X's, put in your Blue Skies. You have to send this to the people and tell them that we've gone live. I don't even know if this is going to be a call-in show. I don't think I'm fully ready for it. It's 11:15 and I want to go to bed. Furthermore, let me set a timer, because every week I do these live call-in shows. I say this one's only going for X amount of minutes, and then the people want to mash up my sleep and not let me go to bed. So let me just quickly set a stopwatch. Right, so it's 10:45. This show is not going longer than 45 minutes. Let me just set the timer right now. 45 minutes max. Soon as this alarm goes, I'm going straight to my bed, because you don't know I need to be up by 6 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work. So let me set that timer. 45 minutes. Hopefully this show is done before 45 minutes. So I can just go bed. I haven't even shared the link. So I'm supposed to share the link in the Patreon, so that Patreon people can get to call in first. But this was so last minute that I haven't even shared the link. I'm not sharing the link until there's 200 man in the live call in. So share this, people. I even got, fam, let me just share this thing. Let me try share this right now in some places. I'm not putting no link in nothing until we're moving. Let's see now. I don't even know my own link, you know. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's a link. Look here. Share. Let's share this in one place right now. Here, bear with people. I'll soon come to you, lot. There we go. That's one share right there. Okay, I shared it in one spot. Yeah, I ain't accepting no call-ins from anybody until, okay, we'll reduce it to 100 man. Until I've got 100 man in the live, we ain't putting no links in. I'm sitting on some bad boy piece of information about the West Indies Championship. Santoki and I are doing a emergency podcast tomorrow, because what I've been told about the West Indies Championship and how it's running this year, that can't be the way it's running this year. That actually can't be the way. All night I've been trying to get my head round if this is truly what they're going to do. If there's anybody from Cricket West Indies listening to this on their burner account right now, then you need to seriously consider if this is what you're going to tell the public that the West Indies Championship is going to be. Because you lot, if you tell the public what I know about the West Indies Championship, then you are going to catch so many pelters, and I can't defend you. I can't defend you because when I got told today what the plan is, the first thing that went through my head was that sounds like a bag of foolishness. And I get it, right? As a cost cutting mechanism, I get it. Like if man's pocket if man's pocket is bruck up, then I get it. If you can't afford something, you can't afford something. But how are you going to sell this as a competitive form of the cricket? I'm I'm so tempted to tell people on the live what I've been told, but Santoki said we've got to save it for the emergency podcast tomorrow. And the thing is, it could be all rumors, but the person who told me, I have no reason to doubt the person who told me. I can't give away. So Machel Douglas says, I heard it's going to be 3 games for each team. Yeah, but it's worse than that. It's worse than that. When people hear what I've been told, if it was just, I've heard it's 3 games for each team, I'd still say that's dumb, but I'd find a way to accept it. Just about. It's worse than that. It's what I was told today is worse than that. What I was told today, that simply cannot be what they're planning to do. It cannot be what they're planning to do. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on that for now. Just no emergency podcast has to run tomorrow to discuss this. Where's that comment I just saw? Terence says, you asked for 100 man. Are you a fish or what? No, I'm not a fish still because I listened to Boom Bye Bye by Buju Banton. So I'm not a fish. D Samuel says, before you go bed mash, I know a team can dominate for decades. But are we now in danger of falling out of love for the sport, especially when India and the BCCI basically rule cricket? Okay, let's get into this. Let's get into this one. I was thinking about this on the way to work this morning. I think we just have to respect India, you know. I think we just have to respect them and just accept that, certainly white ball cricket, not so much test cricket, right? Because obviously New Zealand took them there in test cricket. So they ain't the best in test cricket. But in white ball cricket, I think we just have to accept that they're the best. Even if they've got a myriad of advantages. So obviously Champions Trophy, they didn't even leave Dubai. And everybody had to go and play them in one spot. They just stayed in one hotel and everyone came to play them. So there's certain advantages they've got, right? We can't deny that. Pre-seedings was a joke. The fact that all tournaments are basically geared up for India to play Pakistan is a joke. I think what upsets a lot of people about India's dominance, I don't think a lot of people care that India dominate on the field. I don't actually think a lot of people care about that. What I think people care about is the nefarious nature in which the system is geared up towards them doing well. And it just kind of feels like they don't need any extra help. And that's what I think sticks in people's throats. Like they're good enough to win without the extra stuff. And when we see stuff like we're just going to play in Dubai and everybody come to us, that rightly makes people think, well, it's like Man City. That's why this morning I made that reference to Man City on our X account. Man City, even if Arsenal win the league this season, Man City are the best football team in England, right? Obviously, they're going through a bit of a transition period this season and last season, right? But they're the best football team in England and they've got the best manager in England. But there will always be an asterisk now over Man City because of the 115 charges that they probably will never be found guilty of. And the thing is, Pep is the best manager in England, right? And you look at Pep and you look at the teams that he's created over the years, whether at Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and now Manchester City, and you're like, you don't need any extra advantages. So it sticks in people's mouths when they hear stuff like, "Oh, Man City teethed 115 times," and then people start to say stuff like bald fraud and bald fraud Pep and all that dumbness, right? But the reality is, they're still the best team, irrespective of the charges. And I kind of just look at India like that. India are the best team, and they don't need the extra little bit of help in their favor. So people get upset when they see things where it's like, why are you rigging it? It feels like why are you rigging things when you don't need to? Yeah, let's get to this point. Nobody likes seeing the ICC chairman lifting the trophy and celebrating the title with India for most of the celebration, like hand over the trophy and leave. Yeah, I agree with this. I actually found this to be distasteful. I couldn't care less that Jay Shah is Indian, right? Him being Indian's irrelevant to me. But when you are the chair of an international organization, you have to suppress, like you're supposed to maintain some level of neutrality, surely. Like, I get it. Like, you're Indian to the bone and you want to celebrate with your team. Okay, I get that. Can't you do that in private though? It's another one of those things where it's like, that makes it like, that adds fuel to the fire that the whole thing's just corrupt. When man's jiggling his belly and dancing up and down with the team, like, it makes the whole thing look sus and corrupt. Like, really? But then one of the reasons why Jay Shah is able to do that is because there's no repercussions for anybody. It's like Trump and them, man. We live in the era of the buffoon and the dunce. Like, Trump is a buffoon, right? Bear of the demagogues around the world are basically C-grade students, possibly even D-grade students, who paid people off to basically write their essays for them. Bear dunces are in charge of things around the world. We are in the buffoon era. So should we really be surprised? Like, you're celebrated for being a dunce in leadership. That's the era we're currently in. Jay Shah ain't an intelligent man. Jay Shah is the epitome of nepotism. Like, if you ever wanted to draw what nepotism looks like, you just draw Jay Shah. Man looks like a platypus. Next time you see him, look at his face. He looks like a platypus. Tell me I'm wrong. Go and look at the picture of a platypus, and then put Jay Shah's face next to it, and that's what you got. Yeah, I got 100 man in the chat still. The enemy has me a certain kind of way right now. 100 man in the chat. I still not. Boy, I can't. I don't want to chat to no one today, you know, because how long's left? 32 minutes left of the live. I don't even really want to chat to no one today. Who wants to chat? Who wants to chat? Who's gonna send me who's gonna send me something? You know, on like OnlyFans. No, I haven't been on there, but I've heard that on OnlyFans, like, you send coins. Who's gonna send me a coin? Because I think you, like, on OnlyFans, like, you send the women them coins and you get to like chat to them, and maybe they take their top off or something. Who's gonna send me a coin? What's it called? Wait, what's it called on those things again? It's not coins. What's it called? Tokens. That's it, a token. So I think it's called tokens. Babe Station. I knew it. I knew Mars Errol would, you know. Mars Errol. Babe Station. Mars Errol's on Babe Station. Mars Errol is sitting in his house right now. He's just turned on the 1 hour countdown for midnight. In the UK, people, there's a 1 hour countdown, and then at midnight all the titties come out. But you have to pay for it. but you get like a free view for an hour of just like not you don't get like the titties, but you get like titillation, like concealed stuff, but like it's supposed to make you get excited to drop the money. Errol's sitting there right now on that 1 hour free view. He's ready for that midnight showdown, man. Oh god. Right. Okay. Let's put the link in this thing. I might as well get one person, I guess. No long chat. Anyone who comes on, you've got like 2 minutes to make your point. No long chat. Yeah, follow on says phone bill. So I tell you a story. When I was how old was I? I want to say I was 13 or 14. Do you remember before like Babe Station and all of those type of channels? Do you remember that you used to, again, if you're not in the UK, I'm not sure if it worked like this in other countries, but do you remember like in newspapers or magazines, I'm trying to rack my brain to remember how this went, but like in the classified section, like you'd see like numbers that you could ring. I think they were like called sex numbers or something. And like they were premium numbers. Does anyone remember this? There were premium numbers. And one time I rang one on my house phone, cuz. I rang one on my house phone. And the first 3 minutes was like a woman just going, yeah, you want to get to the hot stuff? I know you want to get to the hot stuff. In 5 minutes, I'm going to really show you the hot stuff. 3 minutes gone, cuz. I still ain't heard the hot stuff. So fam, you see when that bill came and my parents realized that I'd rang that number? Fam, I don't even want to tell you the trauma that hit my life that day. I don't know what that true say Satan must have got me them times. I think Satan took a hold of me them times and told me to ring the number. I didn't even get to the hot stuff either. Satan took me. He tried to take me there. These times I didn't even get to hear nothing. And then the bill came and my dad really showed me the hot stuff with the bell. I really got shown the hot stuff when that bill came. Ah, boy. Anyways, let me put this link in the chat. Right. Atush sends the cuss out. Atush has sent the super chat cuss out. He says, guys, if you are cribbing on celebration just because India won it, then improve your cricket setup. No one used to cry when Australia used to dominate. Really? You reckon? On a serious note, though, Atush, because I'm assuming you're Indian, there's a few questions I'd like the Indian community to answer for me. We've been talking about it in the Discord quite a bit, and it's a genuine question. Obviously, if anybody's watching this on the replay, you can answer in the comments below. What is the issue with sarcasm and not getting it? And also, what is the issue with humor and not getting it? And that's not me. I'm honestly not cussing. I genuinely want to know, like, why is sarcasm and humor so hard to understand? I genuinely like to know that. And also, I think, and actually Jacob's about to come on. I think he was saying this in the Discord earlier today. I can't remember the exact words that he used, but why is nationalism? I don't even know if nationalism is the right word, right? Why is it so important in India than in other places, right? A friend of mine once said to me when I was a young buck, and I've never ever forgotten this phrase. he once said to me, being proud of the country you're from is like being proud of having a nose. And when he said that, I was like, shit, he's got a point. Like, rank jingoism and nationalism makes no sense. When you really break it down, none of you had any say in the country you were born in. That just happened to be the piece of land that your mother happened to be living on at that point in time. And yet certain man will kick down another man over nationalism. And it don't, when you break it down, it don't make no sense. So I always used to grapple with this idea, says the guy who's got a Jamaica flag behind me right now. And then the way I used to try and rationalize it in my head is I'd say to myself, okay, nationalism is awful, but some countries, of which I'll put Jamaica in that, have a history of subjugation. So it's actually important to our identity to be proud of where we're from. But there's a difference to being proud of where you're from and making that your only identity. And I think, anyways, that's really for CCP After Dark. I don't even know why I'm getting into this right now. But I just find that obviously in the last like few days or so on X, I've probably got the most ferocious racism that I've ever got from the Indian fan base on X. Like this morning, I was like blocking bare man. Like the level of racism I got this week, even me, who doesn't really give a damn, was reading some of it going, rah. Imagine I was in bad like mental health. Like this might send me over the edge. Some of the racism, like honestly, some of it was so extreme. Man was telling me man was going, I need to get back in the cotton fields like a dog. And I was like, what the? I was like, rah. I was like, rah, this is like KKK racism. Like, what? Like, what's going on? It's not even funny. It's just like, it's like legitimate, you black piece of shit racism. Like, I was like, rah, these men are really trying to take me there. But yeah, so I was just blocking and muting, man, just going, I can't be arsed with this. But if you let it, online behavior will finish you, you know. If you let it, you've got to be of a real strong constitution to kind of just see the racism over and over again and just basically laugh it off. And or just cuss man back ferociously. So but my next step with the racists, obviously loads of them are like prepubescent boys or like incels and stuff, right? But my next step with a lot of these online man is just to tell them to turn their location on. That's all you have to do to certain man. You just go turn your location on, and then you just pull up on them. You don't give them no warning. Just turn your location on, and then just go pull up on them. And if they're in India, get a plane and just go pull up on them and say, so what are you saying now? What are you on right now? Because remember, it's easy to be everyone's a bad man behind a computer screen. Everybody's a badders. These men are like these men are like the baddies of Atlanta. That's all they're really on. So sometimes you just have to say, turn your location on then. Let's see who's really on it. Right, let's move. Jacob's behind the screen. Let's get him on the thing. Right. Hold on, Jacob, 1 second. Sorry, there was another super chat from Atush. I didn't realize. To be honest, most people don't understand your sarcasm. Sarcasm doesn't translate as comedy to different. Yeah, so this we were discussing. To be fair to Atush, this was being discussed in the super chat as well. Super chat in the Discord as well. And I'm going to defend Atush here. And there's an argument again. This is for CCP After Dark. There's an argument to be had about within our Caribbean culture. Let's just talk about people from the Caribbean or the diaspora or whatever. Do we have a different approach to comedy and sarcasm that other cultures wouldn't understand? Because my take on it is that being from the Caribbean and of Caribbean descent, I'm just used to cussing someone and feeling no kind of way about it. And I just wonder if that doesn't translate as well in some other cultures. That's not specific to anything Indian now. I'm just saying we need to do like a hierarchy of cultures that are used to sarcasm and comedy and cussing. But I think in the Caribbean we're so used to it that it's just water off a duck's back. Whenever a man is talking hard to you, you just whatever. Like that's just how we communicate, isn't it? I don't know though. Maybe I've got that wrong. Let's bring Jacob on in the meantime. Yes, Jacob, what's him?
Hello. Excuse me, I'm recovering from an illness, so my voice isn't great. But I have a question about the first class system for everybody. Let's have a discussion. What actually is the point of the first class system? Let's be real. Okay, there have been some bowlers who have come through in the past 20 years, but we really haven't had like any international batters come through. And like since Chris Gale, we've had Darren Bravo and Craig Brathwaite as the
Are we talking test cricket now in terms
We're
of
talking red ball cricket. Yeah, it's
yeah.
a red ball format, so apply it to the red ball stage internationally. We've had like since Chris Gale, I can only think of Darren Bravo and Craig Brathwaite. And even Craig Brathwaite, like he had a lot of I can't remember as much about Darren Bravo, but Craig Brathwaite had like a lot of development outside of the system as it exists. So the question is, well, there's a lot of like cultural prestige maybe, and there's a cultural nostalgia for the first class tournament. What is it actually providing Caribbean cricket? Now, I'm not saying we'd be better off without it. We don't know what we'd be like without it. But at this point, if the money is so limited, would it not be better to invest that money in A, the academy, and B, actually like recreating a youth clubs system in the Caribbean? Because as far as I've been able to tell with doing some research and listening to Panda's pieces, the youth club cricket scene is pretty dying in the Caribbean. At least it was in Trinidad, which is where Panda was doing most of her research. So, like, would the money not be better spent on these things? I'm just asking the question. You know, one of the things we were talking about when Panda was doing that research, I was doing some conversations behind the scenes with her, is a lot of these clubs are basically playing on just fields. They might not even have a lawnmower. The lucky ones have push mowers. They don't have like riding lawnmowers to actually like manage the service. So they're just playing on the field. So like, would that money not be better spent on like making, I don't know, on like buying a bunch of lawnmowers for local cricket grounds? Like it's genuinely at this point where I think that might have a more positive effect on Caribbean cricket than maintaining the first class system. So it's like this sclerotic, dying competition that's really not that much. It's really not a first class system. It's a glorified club system. Like it's not first class standard. I think a lot of those teams would struggle in like Sydney grade cricket. So I don't know. I think there are arguments to keep having it, but we're at the point where development is so poor and the system hasn't done anything for so long. Would it not be better to invest that in more grassroots development? I don't know. I'm asking you now.
Okay, so I've got two answers to that. So the first things first, bit of a history lesson. The current system that we've got in the Caribbean, which is now called the West Indies Championship, was first. It was turned in 2014. They turned it into the Professional Cricket League. I strongly advise everyone to go and do a lot of reading around David Cameron and Richard Pybus, right? So they turned it into the Professional Cricket League in 2014. And that was the whole reason behind the fallout that happened in India in 2014 when Darren Bravo and the white ball squad in India walked out of that tour. Because there was a whole new memorandum of understanding that was created with WIPA, West Indies Player Association, at that time, which basically said, we are going to cut and anybody who remembers this time in West Indies cricket, get in the comments below if you remember it well, where they said we are going to cut the money that goes at the highest level to the test, basically the West Indies contracted senior players. We're going to cut the amount of money that goes to them, and with that money, we are going to professionalize the game in the Caribbean. So we are now going to create. We are now going to create. Sorry, fix the chair. We're now going to create a professional cricket league. We're going to hand out domestic franchise contracts. Every territory is now going to become a franchise, and they are all going to have 15 or in the region of 15 contracted players. And that's where the system started in 2014, right? And it was heralded as, at that time, it was heralded by Richard Pybus, who was director of cricket at the time, and Dave Cameron, who was Cricket West Indies president. They said, this is going to fix West Indies cricket, because the problem is that the system isn't professional enough and men aren't being treated as professionals. They're being treated as club cricketers. The only way to improve the game is to professionalize the game at the lower levels and stop making it a kind of do or die between, am I in the West Indies senior setup or am I not in the West Indies senior setup? And if I'm not in the West Indies senior setup, I'm nothing more than a glorified club cricketer. So there's elements of what you're saying right now is correct, but this was the case back in 2014 when all the arguments were being had. So anyways, they set up this professional cricket league in 2014. Now, my argument is this, and anytime I see Dave Cameron online chatting as if he was the greatest thing that Cricket West Indies ever saw because we won 3 World Cups in 2016, which was a fluke, and in spite of him, not because of him. I always think back to, you created a professional cricket league in 2014, and since 2014 to 2026, it has not created one test match batter of repute. Now, to me, that is a shocking indictment of a system that was heralded 12 years ago, where money was funneled away from senior cricketers, which you could say is right, to professionalize the game at the first class level. But all we ended up doing was we professionalized the game. And I know this is going to sound harsh. There might be bare cricketers listening to this live or on the replay who are ready to chase me with a bat when I say this. But all we actually ended up doing was we made mediocre cricketers, we paid them a professional wage to still be mediocre. When you pay somebody more money, but don't do anything with the facilities around them to upgrade their skills, all you're actually doing is just paying them more money. That's not making them a better worker. And 12 years later, nothing has changed. Facilities ain't got any better. So people are being paid a professional wage to operate in a mediocre system. So it's keeping them professional, but the system around them in the different territories is club standard / unprofessional. So this kind of, in a roundabout way, I'm answering your question that what do they do? So they, and that, I said I'm sitting on some bad boy piece of information, which is going to become emergency pod. Let me reveal one piece of the bad boy piece of information. Let's see who's listening now. If you're ready for this bombshell, bear in mind, this is just one piece of the information. There's a bigger story behind it. Today, I was privy to a conversation. The person must remain nameless. And that person told me that there are current discussions in Cricket West Indies. Bloody hell, there we go. This is actually spot on. There are current discussions in within Cricket West Indies to end the franchise system and take the money away that they've been given to the franchises to pay professional cricketers. I don't know what they want to do with the money instead, but I've been told that they are discussing to completely rip up the franchise system and take the money away from the territories. I don't know what they're going to do with that money, but that's what I've been. So the franchise contracts for this calendar year or cricket year end in July, and then you get the new set of contracts after that. Like I say, the bad boy piece of information I was told earlier today is that Cricket West Indies are giving serious consideration to taking the money off the franchises. Now, what that does to those cricketers, I can't answer that yet, because how do they then maintain a living as a cricketer. People have to work and so on and so forth. But maybe that's the right thing to do. Maybe we have to go back, because the system before the professional system produced better cricketers than this so-called professional system, where men are getting paid to be a professional.
You can't make it up. It's true. Part of that, I think, is just world cricket was a lot less professional even 10, 15 years ago. But still, it did. It did. But no, it's like, so in principle, I'm not opposed to ripping up or even just completely demolishing it. Maybe keeping it as like exhibition games or something like that for the heritage regions. There's a very long history of like international cricket in the Caribbean between the different nations. But at the same time, like that money, it's not being efficiently spent at all. And our cricket wrestling doesn't have much money at all, and it might not be enough. Where even if you invested it in grassroots and, I don't know, building another like a sister to the academy somewhere else, but what we're doing now doesn't work at all. So, like, we're basically facing total oblivion one way. So why not try something else? It might still lead to total oblivion, but you don't know. I mean, the situation really is that dire. It's hard to continue to be like a serious entity in international cricket when you cannot produce a batter who averages reliably over 27.
Well, so Machel, where is he? Machel said, too many mediocre players have regional contracts. Why are we still giving guys regional contracts when they can't average 30 plus with the bat? And I make him right. And it's not about me trying to take away a man's living, but if a system isn't fit for purpose, the solution to that isn't to just keep on going on with the system and hope something just randomly changes. So if that piece of information that I was told today ends up being true, and they do take the money off the franchises, I'm not sure I'd argue against it. But I would then be saying, well, you have to have something else that replaces it. But I understand why you would defund and divest from something that clearly is a waste of money.
Yeah. So yeah, like it's clearly not working, and it hasn't, and that's been clear for a very long time, but especially since COVID. I do think the current generation of players, like just say anybody over 24, is kind of doomed. I think we know largely what these players can do, and we really have to invest in both the guys coming up right now, the young guys, like you just did the video on Vital Laws, like Mackenzie, just the two legs off the top of my head, but Jewel Andrew, and there's others who are showing promise, and hopefully, if there's competent administration, we don't make the same mistake with them like we made with, I don't know, just Hetty, for an example, who was not mentally ready for all the adulation and everything, and just kind of wasted a decade of his career, and is only finally starting to actually do something outside of the IPL, at least. Even the IPL is hardly doing anything. They're almost for name value by the end of it. So hopefully, that's my hope, is if we are able to do that, we're able to invest in this current crop of players, but especially the crop next to it, getting the 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, getting them access. Basically, like the consistent problem we're having, especially with batters, but exists with bowlers too, is the system is so bad, they have access to such poor coaching and such poor training and such poor facilities and such poor dieting that they're having to learn things at 20, 21, 22 that their peers learned when they were 13.
So check this out. I'm going to look at this point from Machel, which I think it's an embryonic, well, it's basically a hybrid of what we used to have with the current system. So he's saying no more 15 players getting professional contracts. He's saying we give 6 or 7 from each territory a professional contract. Everybody else, you're just getting a match fee. So if you're selected, you are paid your match fee for playing in whatever matches Leeward Islands, Windward Islands, Jamaica, etc. play. Now, I don't mind this idea, because if you're lowering the number from the 15 players to 6 or 7 get a contract, what you can then do with that 6 or 7 that you deem to have the ability to get a contract is then you start bringing. So let's say you got 6 or 7. Let's say 6. Then what you can start doing is you bring 6 from those 6 contracted players from each territory. We only have 6, 36 players. All are they're treated like the West Indies Academy, basically. So they all come centrally to Antigua and Guyana when Guyana finally build their cricket academy, and you almost have those 36 professional players treated as an extended West Indies A squad. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So you treat those 36 as professionals. Everybody else in the region, you best perform in club cricket and do something in matches to justify getting a professional contract the next time round.
Yeah, and that seems beyond just being a more efficient, it also seems a fairer system when you're having like so many guys who are just club cricketers. And let's be real, there's probably not a huge difference between some of these guys in the top crop of club cricket who are getting contracts, but somebody has to get the contract. And so I feel like there's probably a lot of like guys who just below the cut probably feel hard done by. And it might give them more of a reason to take their cricket seriously, in the sense if they're like, okay, if there's more limited spaces, well, it's harder to get in, but maybe that's why I have to prove myself more. So maybe there's at least a little bit of more motivation. When if there's 15, it's like, yeah, I might be able to sneak in, but there's 6, I really got to work on my skills, maybe, or it could lead to fatalism, saying I'm never going to make it, I'll just give up my cricket.
Well, this is it. So Sean says, I disagree. You need to give domestic players stability. You can't have them be worried about how they're going to put food on the table. And I don't disagree with your point there, Sean. But then at the moment, 15 men in every country are putting food on their table, but West Indies are still shit. So what is our system geared towards? Making sure everybody can eat a food, or making sure West Indies are good? And if the system is supposed to be making sure West Indies are good, then some people are going to have to start getting jobs, because we can't just have 90 people in the territory all being able to eat a food and West Indies are still shit. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think a commenter, Cricket 101, said that's not going to work in Guyana. Only the liked players will get the contracts, and the really good ones will suffer. I think that is a good point, because there is a huge problem in Caribbean cricket with, broadly say, nepotism. I mean, I'm not making. Akeem Agist, he's a good player. His father is also an administrator in the Windward Islands Board, so he's in there on merit. But also, if he wasn't actually very good, might still be in there. His father is involved, or at least a relative with the same last and middle name of Akeem Agist is in the Windward Islands Cricket Board. So he probably did get more chances. I'm just saying, just an example. And that's rife in Caribbean cricket. It's rife in all aspects of life in every society. But the kind of decentralized, small community nature of Caribbean cricket really lends itself, and the lack of oversight from Cricket West Indies obviously lends itself to this corruption and nepotism problem.
Yeah, 100%. But listen, Jacob, I'm gonna call it there, simply because there are some other people in the background.
No problem. I can barely breathe anymore. So,
but that topic you've raised, though, has given me a few ideas of some further things that need to be discussed. Because, like I say, you've raised a point. I've dropped some pieces of the bad boy piece of information that I've been told today. And if I am right, some serious changes are afoot in the system, and it's going to be very interesting to see if they can pull it off, because I can't imagine the directors of the different territories will be happy with those kind of changes, but we shall see. But listen, Jacob, I'm going to go to another caller. Thank you for ringing in.
All right, see you later, Mash.
Yeah, no worries.
Good luck.
Cool. There was a comments here that I wanted to bring up. I starred some comments for when Jacob was done, because I thought it was important. So I don't know if Sean Iyer is still there. He says, just a small request. Don't generalize Indians as a whole based based on the millions online on Twitter, Mash. By equating only the vile ones with India as a whole is stereotyping. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you that I'm not gonna try and front with that comment. Online, we always have to remember that online is the very worst of us rather than the best of us, and it's the very worst of us that make the most noise online. Hence why Elon Musk is famous despite being a dunce. So yeah, totally hear that. And Mish says we should not equate Indians on Twitter with Indians in general. Indians on Twitter is a very small self-selected group and is not representative of Indians or Indian cricket fans in general. Yet again, so the reason I put those two comments up is I'm nothing if not balanced, right? And it's important to show both sides of the coin when we're looking at these things, and not try to just say this is the only answer and that is the only answer. Both of those two gentlemen are correct with those opinions. Atush says, Mash, have you heard of Australia's AIS model? If Cricket West Indies can just copy paste that model on the next crop of players, they'll improve much better. What's the AIS model? I don't know about the AIS model. You'd have to give me a bit more detail there. Yeah, I'm not au fait with the AIS model. What time is it? Fam, time's up, you know. I said 45. What's my timer saying? 45 minutes. Where's my timer? My timer's saying there's 1 minute left of this show. Fam, I need to go bed, you know. I'll go get up in 6.5 hours to go do meetings and teach. Oh, did I tell you lot? Here's I quit my job. Did I tell you lot that already? I've handed in my notice. So I'm gonna work out the rest of my time. So my final day at work is July the 19th. So I'm going to work out the rest of my contract. And then, yeah, don't know what happens next. Obviously, I do lots of media stuff for Bromley, obviously Caribbean Cricket podcasts. Basically, I've had enough. I've been a teacher. I've been a teacher for 22 years. 22 years, man. I know you lot think I'm a young buck, but I've been out on these streets for 22 years, helping the next generation. And yeah, I've finally called it a day. So yeah, I want to take some of this media stuff that I do more seriously. School gets in the way of that. Obviously, I still like helping the young youths and making them aspire to be something in their lives. But my passion is elsewhere. So yeah, I've got to come up with a plan. Don't really know what that plan looks like just yet. But yeah, Errol knows. Errol knows what I'm talking about. When the time comes, and this ain't just about me. This is any of you. You know when the time is the time, and the time. I've been threatening it for ages, but the time is the time, man. This was the time. So the young youths. It's time for me to move on from educating the young youths. I might do some tuition, might do some politics tuition, stuff like that. I've got too much knowledge on international relations, so I might impart that to some of the young youths, tuition-wise, but we shall see. Right, let's get on to Sachin. Atush says, in the early 1990s, Cricket Australia transformed their system using a high-performance model inspired by the sports science structure of the Australian Institute of Sport. Okay, I hear that, but to be honest, Atush, I'm not sure if we should be following Australia. The country we need to follow is New Zealand. There is no reason why New Zealand cricket can continually overachieve with their population size, and West Indies, and okay, first world, third world, whatever, but there's no reason why New Zealand can continually overachieve and West Indies can't. And I just think that before we look at Australia, we first need to go and study New Zealand and work out what can we take from their system, because that's the best population size equation or similarity that we can use. There's no point in us looking at England or Australia or India. They got bare man in their country and entrenched systems with money. We can't copy them, man. So we need to go look at what New Zealand have done. Part of that, the biggest, and this is why I always say to you lot, the biggest stumbling block is governance reform. You cannot fix on field without fixing off field, and we've never fixed off field. So we could go look at New Zealand and Australia and anybody else, but if we don't fix off field, nothing really changes. Machel says, Mash, we need a CCP after. Yeah, I really need to get moving on CCP after hours. Furthermore, let me write a note to myself. I really need to get that show off the ground. I'm so lazy. I'm a lazy uncle, you know. I need to do a whole new design. People have been telling me to create a new channel, and I think I might have to. So CCP after hours on the issue with Jamaica ending their 50-year medical partnership with Cuba. We know a lot of politics is involved. I want to hear your views. Yeah, we need to talk on that. To be fair, I might need to get my dad on that. I might ring my dad and tell Professor Hewitt to come through and reason on that, because obviously Michael Manley, there's been that Michael Manley clip that's been going around social media all of this week and last week. I feel a greater bond and solidarity to the Cuban people than I do to the Americans. And I say that as obviously Jamaica, we ape American culture, but I feel greater solidarity to the Cubans than I do to the United States. But we saw what happened when we tried to show solidarity with Cuba in the Cold War era. We saw how the United States wanted to come and mess up our country. For those of you who don't know your Jamaican history, why do you think gun violence started in the 1980s? What, you think we just started that ourselves? Where do you think all those guns came from that flooded into the country in the late 70s, 80s? When Siaga was doing all of his madness, where do you think all of those guns came from? Those of you who don't know your Jamaican history, go study. You think those guns just suddenly magicked themselves into Jamaica? Come on, man. CIA was doing a madness. Anyways, let's that's for CCP after dark. We can't get into them things right now. Trump might flipping drop a nuclear bomb on my house. Right. Let's go to Sachin. Yes, Sachin.
Good night, Mash. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm not gonna talk for long. Two quick points. First one is I'm more concerned of how like West Indies in a white ball aspect go after this World Cup. So I don't want to foresee a future where our next couple white ball
T20s
series,
or ODIs.
um, T20s mostly, but you can also apply it to ODIs.
Right.
I don't want to see I don't want to see like in our next few series coming up that like man like Hetty not there, Shamar not there, Rutherford not there. Like the reason, or not the reason, but the whole point of building this team up is so that these guys can be there continuously, right? I don't want to have a good World Cup in 2026 and then take licks for the next 2 years and then turn up to the 2028 World Cup with the same men, and then they'll put a little performance in again and then they disappear again. Like it makes no sense. If you're gonna commit to the team, commit to the team long term and be there for every series.
So I
That's
agree.
my first point.
I agree with you. Let me ask you a question. For that to happen, is the only way to get those players to commit to pick them in all formats? Because I can see a situation where Hetty and Rutherford. So our next limited over series, I think, is against New Zealand. So Sri Lanka come for 2 tests, and then New Zealand come for, I want to say, 3 ODIs and 3 T20s. Now, ideally, Hetty, Rutherford, Denman, Holder make themselves available, and we don't have to return to this conversation. But then the Pakistan series is a multi-format one. I think we played 2 tests and maybe some, I think 3 ODIs and some T20s, right? So is the best way to get Hetty and Rutherford to commit and not drop out or pick and choose, is the best way to pick them in the test squad as well?
I'm not against it, honestly. I'm not against it. I've been seeing Kieran Powell said that Hetty wants to play Test cricket again. I know you mentioned it on your last video, I believe. I think it was a Patreon video. I don't know if the public saw it, but Yeah, I think Kieran Powell said that Hetty wants to play Test cricket, and if that's true, I'm not against it. Rutherford, I'm not sure. I don't think we'll ever see him in whites. But I know Hetty in the past he does like Test cricket, but the money and his wife got in front of him. So, but I'm not gonna like speak on his wife though. Anyway, but the next point was I brought this up years back, but I never like publicly spoke about it. Was so at the end of a 48 championship or Super 50, there's a trophy awarded to the winner and prize money, correct?
Yeah.
So, and also in the tournament, there's bonus points, right? That's like targeted towards where we need to improve as a team internationally,
Mm.
right? I think that the trophy should go to the team that won the tournament, and the prize money should go to the team that accumulated the most bonus points. And that way, it forces the teams to actually work on what we need them to work on because every man just wants to win the tournament and win the money. But really and truly, they just want the money. So give the money to the team that's actually going to try their best to develop our national or international team. I don't
Do you know
know
what?
how that's going to work.
Do you know what? I'm not against that idea. But I think you'd have to split the money because man would if that's where the money would go, no one don't want to win the trophy. Although the argument would
That's
go
the
that if you
point.
win
That's
the
my
bonus,
point.
if you win the bonus point, surely you do win the trophy. But I guess unless there's a final, I think there's merit in that. And certainly when we drop our episode on what the 4-day championship is going to look like, you might say, boy, that point I said to Mash about bonus points is even more relevant now. Because put it this way, when I drop the information on the championship, you'll say the bonus point idea makes more sense than what I just said about the 4-day championship.
There might not be any money left, to be honest. You're talking about bonus money and all that.
Do you know
How did we
what?
go
Look,
from?
go on.
How did we go from a year ago, headline tournament, breakout league, Guyana Rainforest Rangers and all of that, to a year later, the tournament is gone and we're like declaring bankruptcy essentially. Like, where did the money? How did you have a money a year ago to start a whole new league, but then there's no money now?
So I'm going to raise two things about that. Has it occurred to people that Santoki and I were talking about this earlier today? Has it occurred to people that when Sammy was cussing about I want to go home, somebody give me an update, everybody just assumed he was, well, there was a lot of the Indian fan base that assumed he was talking about India for some reason. Most people assumed he was talking about the ICC, but Santoki and I in the background have been saying, is he not cussing out Cricket West Indies? Because at the end of the day, right, if you get stranded in a country because of a global war, or a war in the region, everyone was going, why don't they fly east and then come back another way and so on and so forth? I said to Santoki, I reckon the reason we're stuck in India is because we don't have money to get the guys out of there.
That's insane. I thought it was up to the ICC because it's an
No,
ICC
so
tournament.
that's the impression that everybody is saying, right? But how do we know that it's not that we don't have the money? Because
I
think
was
about
cussing
it.
Sting that England flew out the same day or the day
Right,
after, and
okay.
Western.
But
But what
how
about
do
South
we
Africa?
know?
They're stuck as well.
Right, but check this out. If your team is stuck in a country, right, because global politics, right? You can't just go, well, we'll wait for the ICC to sort it out. Don't you move heaven and earth yourself to try and get them out of there? They're contracted to Cricket West Indies, right? It's not, you can't, the attitude can't just be, well, boy, it's the ICC's responsibility. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I'm just afraid that this like makes the players them reluctant from like to
Well,
show up
this
to
is what
West
I'm
Indies
saying.
duty.
Don't be surprised when these men finally get out of India. Don't be surprised if man are vexed with Cricket West Indies, you know.
Yeah, and we can, and honestly, we can't root them up for that either. Like, I don't blame them. I'd be cussing too.
So
And
yeah,
it's
so
bad when Akil has to ask Ronaldo to send his plane.
this
Like,
is what I'm
that's
saying. A
bad.
big Akil Hussein texting Ronaldo and saying, please come save me.
Insane. But yeah, Mash, my phone is on 6%, and I know there's probably more people that want to come on, so I'm not gonna talk for much longer. But yeah, I hope all is well. I hope
Mm,
Santoki Wi-Fi is okay, and I really enjoyed the Patreon episodes over the World Cup.
no worries, man. Thank you very much for the support.
Yeah, no problem. Take care.
Cool. I was gonna make another point about the money. So what did I say to Sachin? So Sean has said alternate routes are very expensive. Yeah, they are. This is what makes me think, though, Sean, that I don't think this is just an ICC problem. I think it's we've got Bruck pocket and we couldn't get the guys out of there from our own Bruck pocket. So I think that's part of the problem as well. And when like I say, when Santoki and I dropped the episode, when we dropped the episode about the 4-day championship, I think most of you, based on what I was told, I think the reason that they've done what they've done is because they're Bruck pocket. And I want to also believe that they've kind of consulted some people and said, boy, this is the most efficient way to make a competitive tournament. But I suspect it's because we're Bruck pocket. Do you know what else I found out today? Do you not remember that when was it? Was it at the start of 2025? Do you not remember? Someone get in the comments and let me know if you remember it. Do you remember we did a gala in 2025? Does anyone remember that? Where we were handing out like Cricket West Indies awards and stuff like that, and like everybody was there, like all the legend old timers were there, and they gave out awards like Cricketer of the Year. I want to say it was at the beginning of 2025. It wasn't at the end of 2025, was it? Or maybe it was some time near the end of it. Does anyone remember that? Can't remember what they called it, like Cricket West Indies best of something or other. Does anyone remember this? Anyways, if you do or if you don't remember it, if you do or don't remember this, today I was told how much that gala cost. All I'm going to say, when I was told the figure of how much that gala cost, all I could think was, well, no wonder we've got no money. If I ever released the figure that was told to me, no wonder we got Bruck pocket. The pocket is Bruck. I'm shook to even tell you lot how much that gala costs. And I'm not saying we mustn't celebrate the guys, but you did an all expenses paid gala, big gala event, big awards, and some can say rightly so, because we should be respecting our elders, respecting the generation that came before us, giving out awards to recognize the players, and all of that stuff is important. But you can't run something like that, then say within 6 months we're Bruck pocket. Like, better financial decisions should have been made then. Why would a gala be at the top of financial choices to make, and then the women's Super 50 competition was only 3 games, season done? For 3 games and season done for all the teams. West Indies Championship, when I drop the bad boy piece of information tomorrow, that's West Indies Championship this year is going to be done in what, 2 weeks? Maybe 2.5 weeks max. Maybe at a stretch 3. Maybe at a stretch, West Indies Championship will be done in 3 weeks, right? So we did big gala, big money. Sean says 7 figures or 6. My friend, 7 figures minimum is what I've been told. So big money drop on a gala, but now we can't run a West Indies Championship for longer than 3 weeks. Anyways, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I actually don't know. I feel sometimes like West Indies cricket is in a vice grip. I feel like we're in a vice grip that we can't get out of. Last thing, people. There was a couple of comments I wanted to show. Sean says we need to get Alan Stanford back 100%. We need to do Prison Break and bust out Alan Stanford and get back all of the money that he teethed to run it on West Indies cricket again. Atush, thank you for a super chat again. He says, do KP and Bravo hate Sammy? I think Bravo does. I think Bravo does for sure. Because in Indian cricket fandom, there is talk that Sammy is putting efforts to improve West Indies cricket. But the rest of them are just playing franchises. They're definitely when Bravo was a young buck coming up through the West Indies team, Sammy definitely took Bravo's spot. No, that's not necessarily Sammy's fault. But Sammy took Bravo's spot, and effectively that was the end of Darren. That was the end of Dwayne Bravo's international Test career. So I don't know if the beef runs from them. Obviously, when Sammy got into the team, he was seen as like a corporate guy. Became captain of the West Indies team. I think this is why some of the uncles don't like him. So 2011 to about 2014, I think that was the period he was captain. He was kind of seen as the company guy. And then when we won in 2016, the T20 World Cup, that's when Sammy turned heel and did his heel speech when we won the T20 World Cup. And then Sammy never played for West Indies again after that. Okay, Kelly says that Bravo says he doesn't hate Sammy, or at least there's no bad blood. Yeah, I don't think there's bad blood, but I put it this way: I don't get the impression that they're brethrens. I've never really got the impression that there's a brethren thing going on. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just being a chatty patty, and actually I don't know what I'm talking about. So I could be completely wrong here. Anyways, last thing, people. Then I'm going to my bed. So I've been thinking, how much energy is left on my laptop? Yeah, definitely last thing. I've got 16% left of the laptop. I've been thinking, people, and I need to do a bit more thinking on this, but I want to discuss it on this live call-in show. And then if you're in the CCP Discord, by all means, hit me up in there, and we can take this chat further. I've been thinking about CCP, and by CCP I mean us, the wider community. I've been thinking about us sponsoring a cricketer, like identifying a West Indian young buck and using the resources of CCP and you lot, the community, pooling funds and sponsoring a cricketer. So, like, let me pick someone off the top. So let's take someone like let me pick a cricketer. So someone who's a talented young buck. So let's take someone like Nathan Edwards, for example, the left arm seamer, who I think Nathan is actually with the West Indies Academy. So in my head, and I know that a lot of these people have agents, so I'm not trying to say that CCP should become an agency. I don't think that's what I really mean. But I do think, like, pooling our funds together to do stuff like get them some proper gears and organizing, like, so I go and speak to my contacts in the game and we pool the funds together to get them out to like a 2-week camp somewhere. Like, so I speak to my contacts in the UK and say, listen, we through CCP, we sponsor this young cricketer. As a community, we're going to pay for him to get over to the UK. We're going to pay my man, and he's going to do a 2-week intensive camp with the young youth. He goes back to the... Do you see what I mean? I've been toying with this idea in my head because in my fantasy idea in my head, that's a better way to develop a young youth than I can expect any of the territories to do. And that's a better way of us pooling our resources together. Like, it's up to, like, we can't just keep doing the same thing and expecting things to change. So don't we have to become the lifeblood of the cricket then? Don't we need to pull what resources we can pull together and say, come, let's help a couple young youths and see what we can do and aid their development? Do you see where I'm coming from? Like I say, it's an embryonic idea in my head right now, but surely there must be some advantage I can take from living in the UK to get to link up with certain people that I've connected within the game in the UK, and we start flying over a couple sponsored CCP cricketers and helping their game develop and trying to fast track their development. Anyways, more on that at a later date, but it's something that I've been toying with. Yeah, Michael Douglas says Clive Lloyd is now the president of Lancashire. So is he going to bring over a young youth? Yeah. How about the actually, yeah. Good point. But anyways, we can talk about this stuff at a later date, people. I've just seen the time. I need to go to my bed. Like I say, that was a last minute one. 200. I actually got 200 man as well. Just as I'm about to go, 200 man came through. But I gotta go. Thank you. That was a last minute live show, people. No, there was no warning about that one. No advertising of that one. Thank you for anybody who came through. If you come through at the back end, just rewind when I'm gone and watch it from the start again. Get in the comments below. Thank you, Atush, if you're still here. Thanks for the super chats, much appreciated. Sean says, Mash, how do you think the Iran war ends? That's for CCP After Dark, but here's my short version of the story. America and Israel are going to claim that they have won and then back out of the war, but the propaganda machine will convince those who don't think properly that America and Israel somehow won that war. As things stand right now, the Americans and Israel are losing badly, but not just in the conventional sense of whose army is doing the most damage. You don't judge this war by those conventions. You have to judge it by deeper conventions. Everything is the economy at this stage right now. And whatever you believe about each of those three countries, Iran, the United States, and Israel, Iran is playing the better game. Not that war is a game, but if we relate it to a game, Iran is playing a better chess game than the United States and Israel. I think the hubris of the United States and Israel has caught up with them. So now they're going to have to find a way to use propaganda to tell people that they won, when in reality they had to retreat. Anyway, that's for CCP After Hours or After Dark when I finally launched that channel. You just got a tiny bit there of the politics teacher and international relations teacher that I am in my day job, but we need to go now so that I can get sleep for my day job. I've been Machel, St. Patrick here at One Half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. See you all very, very soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.